Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. I'm your host, Aaron Smith, joined as always by head coach and general manager Scott Langer. Scott, thanks for taking some time for us. And it's actually been 2 weeks now since we've done one of these shows, so we got a lot to kind of catch up on. So we're going to briefly run through the home and home sweep, weekend sweep against the Watertown Shamrocks. Went up there, or down there, Friday. Got the 4-1 win. Mugaas gets his 25th of the season. Started things early, just a goal under 2 minutes into the contest. Tishkovich getting his 7th, and in the second, Jibber-Cool would also get his 7th of the season. It gives the Wings a 3-0 lead. Lilson would extend the lead to 4-0 with his 9th goal of the season early in the third. Watertown would get their first and only goal a couple minutes later. Physical game all around, but penalties added up in the third, especially including game misconducts. What were your thoughts on the win Friday in Watertown?
Oh, we got out to a lead, so that was nice. It was a good feeling because we have been playing from behind quite a bit here in the last while. So we got out early. We played good hockey. We turned some pucks over in that game, but our goaltending was really solid.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of goaltending, Cunningham in net stopping 32 of the 33 shots he faced, and then Watertown the Wings getting 35 shots. Saturday, back in the Odde, similar story as far as the Wings getting on the board first. Tishkovich getting his 8th of the season or his 2nd in the second period. Lilson getting his 10th, 2nd of the weekend. On the third, Allman getting his 1st goal, and Minnie Greyhorse is getting his 10th, first as a Wing. Watertown was able to get 2 goals and make things interesting down the stretch. Obviously, there was penalties carried over from the night before. Again, just kind of building up that rivalry. What were your thoughts on Saturday's game here against Watertown?
Yeah, I thought we played really well, actually. Up until the control was lost in the game, and then obviously there was about a 20-minute break to figure out and sort that stuff out. And we didn't focus how we should focus, coming out of that, which it's not easy to do with all that going on, especially after you see a goalie fight. But they got the two goals there and made it tight. But our guys were pretty good after that point. They shut them down and they just didn't give a whole lot up.
Yeah, definitely made things exciting down the stretch. On the weekend, Wings went 2 for 12 on the power play, so nice to see that presenting some points. Season series against Watertown, 5-0-0-0. Still have 3 games left against them coming up. There's a Monday game and then another home and home series before the season series ends with them. Then right after that, a couple of the guys and ourselves getting on a plane, heading over to Top Prospects. Team Central ends up going 1-1, Backo with an assist. Your team selects Black team ends up going 2-0, giving Team Central their only loss. I know you've been there a lot, but what were your thoughts on kind of Top Prospects and the exposure it gives to the guys and everything else? It is kind of a taken away from the team for a couple of days, but just kind of your overall thoughts on Top Prospects in general.
Well, it's well ran. It always does. The NA always runs their events really well. So guys were taken care of. It was first class that way. Obviously, Alex, our equipment guy, got the goal. They treated him really well. And it does offer exposure, for all those guys, especially the older guys that are on those teams that need that little extra exposure to maybe get themselves, an NCAA college hockey deal. But I thought the hockey was really good. I thought the teams were picked pretty fairly, and there was a lot of parity within the game. So I thought our guys played well. They represented Aberdeen extremely well. And I think that's always a big thing because sometimes you get to those tournaments and you get guys that want to be individuals and try to showcase themselves and not utilize their teammates. And I thought our guys slipped right in with the rest of the division and played some really good hockey.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's the kind of tournament where you want to stand out in front of the scouts, but they're also looking at it if you're a team player and everything else and just kind of getting thrown together. Sometimes can be hard, but when you get down to it, hockey's hockey. So guys did a great job of representing like you said, Team Central, Team Aberdeen, all that. So Quick turnaround as some of the guys that were there get back and then immediately kind of have to head for Bismarck for pair games this last weekend. Bismarck able to get the home sweep, winning 4-1 Friday, 6-2 Saturday. Bismarck, it seemed like hot out of the gates, getting 2 first period goals Friday night. Getting the lone Wings goal in the second was Owen Pitters, his 7th of the season. So good to have him back in the lineup. Bismarck added a couple more in the third to take a 4-1 Friday win. Cunningham stopping 30 of the 34 shots he faced. Just real quickly about Pitters, how important is it to get a player like him back? I know he's been out of the lineup for quite a while now, kind of waiting for things to heal properly and giving him the necessary time to make sure he's coming back and he's at full 100%.
Yeah, well, you see that Friday night game with him in it. I mean, it adds a lot more depth to our lineup. You know, he's a cerebral player that has the ability to make plays and score goals, and that's just what he does. And obviously, he plays down the middle, which is a very valuable position in hockey. You know, we did not have him on Saturday, and you know that lack of depth definitely showed within that game. But you know, Pitters is he's a big part of this. He's done a really good job of doing his rehab and doing everything he needed to do to get back in the lineup. It's really, really hard being injured, you know, and just being around the team and trying to get back on the ice. So he's done a really good job, and you know, we'll keep working with him to be in the lineup.
Yeah, Saturday, a little bit more of the same as Bismarck gets out to the early start, built a 2-goal lead in the first and then added 4 goals in the second. Bryce Johnson for the Wings getting his 11th of the season, first as a wing. Got the Wings on the board early in the third, and Bogakov would add his 26th goal late in the third, but end up falling 6-2. Cunningham stopping 27 of the 33 shots he faced that evening. Another busy night in the penalty box. It's kind of this time of year you expect to see that as teams, given that they're all to try to get a couple points. What were your thoughts on the weekend as a whole in Bismarck?
Yeah, not good. You know, on Friday night, we went down 2-0. We didn't block a shot on their power play. That was their second goal from up top. But, you know, we ended up coming out in the second period, and we answered with that first goal by Pitters, and then they scored right away. And that was a killer. That was hard. You know, they had on Saturday night, they had about a 6-minute span of where they scored their goals. And it was all based on mistakes. It's all stuff that's correctable. We'll go after it this week and make the proper corrections. And then, you know, our guys have to execute. You know, that's a team. When you're playing teams on top of you, they're just waiting for you to make mistakes. And we made our fair share of mistakes. I guess the positive you take out of that weekend is, you know, after they scored those 6 quick ones on us, you know, we came out in the third period and we pushed back. And we had a good hockey period in the third. We did score a couple of goals. We had quite a few chances, but obviously at that point the game's over. But as a coach, you don't want your guys to quit, you know. And that's one thing we talked about. We're not going to be quitters. We're going to go out there. We're going to continue to play hard and you know, make sure that we're representing the logo the right way. But as a whole, on the weekend, it wasn't good. You know, you're playing a team that capitalizes. They're highly skilled. They're a very good hockey team. They got a ton of vets over there that, when you make mistakes, they make you pay. And, you know, we made our fair share of mistakes. You know, on Saturday alone, you know, we gave up 25 chances. You're not going to win a lot of hockey games like that. And, you know, Cunningham deserves a little better, not to be facing the type of chances that he has to try to stop. You know, he did what he could do, but I don't put any of those goals on him over the weekend. So we have to get better this week. Obviously, we're seeing Minot, who probably has an argument as the number one team in this division right now, the way that they're playing. We're gonna have to go after them. You know, every point matters, and we're good enough to take points, but we're not good enough to make mistakes. That's the team we have this year. That's the team we need to live with, and we have to understand as a group that we have to be mentally ready to go. We have to be physically ready to go. And we cannot turn pucks over to the opposition, because they're going to end up in the back of our net, because we've proven that down the road here.
Yeah, you mentioned the confidence in talking about, I think this was back in the Watertown part of it, but I've noticed a little bit more, obviously traveling to Austin and seeing some of that stuff. a lot of that depends on kind of how the first period goes and how you guys get out to it. Playing with a lead, getting that lead in the first period seems to kind of take some pressure off the guys, and they play a little lighter. Like I said, mentioned before, not gripping the stick so tight, and it just seems like a looser feel. They're having more fun with it, but then once it get down by a goal or two, it's the opposite of that, where you grip it a little bit tighter and less confidence going forward. So, see what you're saying there. Looking at that with Minot coming up, as you mentioned, have not had success against them this year. Looking back this last weekend, they got Watertown was able to take 3 of the 4 points against them. They obviously got a shootout win Saturday night. But what is it since they've done since the last time we've seen them? What do we got to do against Minot this weekend?
Well, they're deep, 1 through 4. That's for sure. They're deep, doing a really good job, and obviously Sweden is probably the top goaltender in the league right now. And when those guys do make their mistakes, Sweden's there to cover them up. So they got a nice hockey team over there. They play hard. Cody's got them, playing really smart, and they don't turn the puck over a whole lot. They pressure you all over the ice. You don't have time to breathe against them. They're not a passive hockey team, that's for sure. So they're not sitting back. We're going to have to be ready for them to come after us. And yeah, we've had some unfortunate circumstances when we have played them. We've been without quite a few bodies, and it might be the same way heading into this weekend. But again, we're good enough to to play with them. We're good enough to take points, and obviously it's a tough environment in Minot, and they're battling Bismarck, so they're going to be coming out on fire, knowing that they're trying to catch Bismarck in the standings. And every game means something right now.
Yeah, for sure. Again, this weekend at Minot, February 28th and March 1st, 7:35 scheduled puck drop both nights. As you mentioned, and we talked about 2 weeks ago, the Central is always a tight division. Any team has a chance to win on any given game. That game being proven once again with Watertown, again taking 3 of the 4 against Minot. Looking at the standings, it's kind of more of the same. It switched around when we were off, but it's back to Bismarck leading the division, 70 points on top. Minot right behind them with 69. Austin tied with them with 69. Those two kind of flip-flopped over the last 2 weeks. And then St. Cloud able to jump us to get in that final playoff spot with 50 points. We're sitting at 49. So still very reachable. And then North Iowa, 35. Watertown, 28. Minnesota Mallards with 23. Again, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, 17 games remaining now, 32 points down the stretch. Looking ahead, which I know you don't like to do, but we do have a big weekend coming up against St. Cloud after this weekend. I know we got to get through this weekend first. But how do you keep the guys kind of focused the way you are on each game, each play, each shift, however you want to do it, one at a time, with the end kind of in sight as far as the regular season goes, but still that playoff push is happening and trying to get position. And I mean, like I said, anything could happen at this point. Still plenty of points on the table.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of anxiety with this age group, especially getting down the stretch and what they're going to do in the future after this year. So a lot of that comes into play. But I haven't found our guys to be off task. We are making mistakes. We are getting scored on. Bismarck did hand us quite the beating over the weekend. I get it. But our guys still have the same thing in mind, and they're still working the same way. But it's all we got right now is to continue to play as a group and to continue to try to take points. And then you talk about not getting on the board first or getting on the board first. I mean, we've had so many games that we didn't get on the board first, and I think what happens is when the opposition does, it creates the anxiety level. And now we got to get back in it, and we got to try to get up. We have not been able to have a lot of success doing that. So you're right. You kind of need to score that first one. And, we came out in that first period on Friday night, and I don't care who was watching the game. We pinned them in their zone. And then they got that goal, and it was just deflating. I mean, it's a deflating goal. And, things we would have scored in those first 4 shifts, games probably looks a little different. But we didn't, and the outcome was the outcome. But our guys, there's no give up in the group. The goal is still the same, to make the playoffs, because once you make the playoffs, obviously anybody can beat anybody on any given night. So, we're going to work this week. We're going to try to fix some of our mistakes, try to be a little tighter in what we do, and we'll head into Minot with the right frame of mind.
All right. As you mentioned, in Minot, Friday and Saturday, 7:35 puck drop both nights. You can watch on NAHLTV.com, listen on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or the Rock app. Thanks again, Scott, for taking some time with us. We're going to take a quick break, and Ryan's going to be right back with our player interview.
Pro Ag Supply leads the game with Channel Seed, liquid fertilizer, and tanks. With 3 generations of family service, we've spent over 40 years growing relationships with your family. So whether it's game day or planting day, Pro Ag Supply and Channel Seed are by your side. Pro Ag Supply.
L&O Transport and Farm wants you. They're currently hiring Class A CDL truck drivers and farm operators. Experience preferred, but not necessary. L&O offers great benefits like a 401k, 100% health, and year-end bonuses. Pay depends on experience, but wages are very competitive. They run the newest late model equipment and take pride in what they do. L&O Acres and Transport is a family-run business. Come be part of the L&O family. Give them a call at 605-226-0732.
Welcome to the second portion of Wings Weekly. Joining me this week is Joey Mugaas. Now, Joey, you're from Minnesota, and honestly, I told you I was just going to have you tell us where you were from, but Elite Prospects actually does have a different town than where you're from. So you go ahead and just tell us.
Yeah. So I was actually born in Edina, but I grew up in Minot.
Okay.
So
okay. So we did the right thing by you just telling us where you're from.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you first get into hockey?
First got into hockey. My dad had my 2 other brothers playing, and they really motivated me to play. I started playing when I was like 2. Started skating when I was 2 years old. Then I started playing hockey when I was 3. Just thought it was really fun and continued with it.
Mm-hmm. So, your family. Talk about your family. Talk about your siblings.
I have a mom and dad, and I have a dog named Louie. It's a lab mix, and I have 2 brothers. One's at UNB, the other one's at St. Thomas.
Okay. And so, you're more of a dog person then?
I am.
No cats?
I don't like cats. My dad's allergic to cats. He had a cat when I was younger, and he ran away, actually. It's pretty sad. But, yeah, I've never had a cat since then. So, always been a dog person.
That makes my heart hurt. I have a cat, so.
Really?
Yeah. We just celebrated her Gotcha Day, too.
Oh, no.
Not for a year, but. Anyway, so, like I said, before we started this, I was looking at your Elite Prospects, too, and you've actually had experience playing in the NA before you made your way to the BC. And then coming back to us here in the NA. So how did it come about, you coming back into the NA and playing here for the Wings?
I don't know. NA's always just been a really good spot. Just going to where I know I can be at my best, or I can play at my best. The NA was a good spot when I was there before in Northeast. And I don't know. When I made the decision to come back, a lot of guys I knew played for Aberdeen, so I just would be a good spot for me and good place.
We also have to say that Joey is probably one of the kindest guys on the team. No, it's true. So if you hear him apologizing to me and thanking me a million times, it's just because he's so kind.
No.
Yeah. And you answered this question on your mic'd up, but because we kind of reach a wider range of the community here with Wings Weekly, and because you've had some more home games under your belt now, your playing experience at the Odde and on those Fridays and Saturday nights and in front of the packed house and everything, what has that experience been like for you?
Only experienced packed house like a few times in my life. Like, used to play Minnesota high school hockey, and it's pretty huge. But I mean, packed house every night, fans cheering you on. You just play for a community, and I just really love that. Like, that used to happen in my high school a little bit. So I'm just glad to have that community and that fan base around me.
If you could think of one word to describe playing in the Odde Ice Center, what would it be?
Probably have to do like exhilarating. I mean, there's nothing really like it.
Also, being on Wings Weekly, not only to get to know you better, but to kind of put you in the hot seat. Favorite restaurant here in Aberdeen now that you've been here
Ooh,
for a while?
Hirsch has put me on 322.
Hmm.
I ordered a bruschetta board the first time I went there, and I almost threw up. But now I've gotten something different every single time I've been there, like in my billets, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I feel like that's like one of the team favorites. Like that and Mavericks is like.
What's your favorite?
Oh man, I work at Mavericks, so I can't.
Really?
Mavericks is pretty good, but also like, you ever had like the circus?
Oh yeah, it's good.
The circus is so good.
Yeah.
Like some wings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like Pounders. You can't go wrong with just
there
like
last night.
local places here in Aberdeen are just so good.
Yeah.
Also, go to like pre-game, post-game meals.
Probably like chicken and rice before.
Standard hockey answer there.
Yeah, usually there's like leftovers. Their billets, Brian and Jill are really good at, I don't know, making food and like having leftovers and stuff.
And they have hockey kids too, so they know how it goes.
Yeah, they do. They know everything about it. So I'm just really fortunate to have them. And then post game, just kind of like whatever, like on away games usually have like whatever it is, noodles, pizza, anything like that. But yeah, that's basically it.
And any hockey superstitions? Are you like the super crazy, like everything has to go bottom to top, left to right? You have to have the same like.
I used to be, and then I've kind of been trying this new concept because good hockey players should be able to like perform at any situation. And I feel like when I was superstitious, like if I messed up one thing, then I'd have a bad game. But just like being free for, I don't know, doing whatever. So.
It's a good mindset to be that way.
Yeah. I think so.
So, like I said, hot seat, right? So hypothetically speaking, you have a sister, okay? Who on this team would you absolutely not let date your sister?
Well, I built with Reese Ullman, and he's a feisty guy. So I don't know. He's a good guy, but I don't know if I'd want to date him. I don't know.
And is there anyone on this team who you'd be like, yeah, maybe I'd let you
honestly like
take her out on at least one date just to see how it would go?
Yeah, the three captains like are always stand-up guys. They know how to lead the team.
There you go.
So I feel like they lead the relationship really well.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Okay. You win 4 tickets, all inclusive paid trip. Okay. Which teammates are you bringing with you?
Ooh.
And on top of that, which teams are you hoping to see there?
The Wild. I'm from Minnesota. I don't really care the other one.
Okay.
Just
valid.
Maybe they just get there in the next.
We're just hoping to see Minnesota.
Yeah,
they're having a good season, so it can happen.
They are. Something always happens in the playoffs, though. But I have to stick with Minnesota.
Speaking of
guys.
Superstitions, knock on wood now before you. But 4 teammates. Who are you taking?
I probably have to do Minnesota guys. I'll do Gibber.
Okay.
Just shared room with him on the road trip, and I'll do Cooper, Anderson, Gavin Reed, and then there's another Minnesota guy. Grant Winkler. Grant Winkler is he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I love those.
He can bring his guitar and.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Him and Briggs apparently are like insane at guitar.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I really want to.
And Winks can like play some piano too. Yeah. I've heard him play. He's actually phenomenal. It's crazy. Now we just need to see if he can sing and they can create a band.
Oh my gosh.
The first Wings band, everybody. Okay. We're about to talk about the next home games too, which come up in the next couple weeks. So these next couple questions kind of tie into those. But if you could choose to be a superhero, okay, which one would you be and why?
Me and my roommate Reese, we're watching all the Dark Knight movies right now. So probably Batman.
Okay.
It's really inspirational.
Which actually ties into the next question. If you could choose other teammates to be a couple other superheroes.
Probably like, I don't know, Moxie's pretty fast, so maybe give him the Flash.
Okay.
And then I'll do Gibber as Superman. He's kind of big, strong, quick,
there you go.
like that. That's about it.
Okay. And we're gonna have because we're gonna have a superhero and princess night. Do you have a favorite Disney movie?
Disney movie. Princess and the Frog.
That's a good
I like
one.
that one. I like that one.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
What's yours?
Oh man, there's so many.
I know.
There's so many.
I like the Disney princess movies. Beauty and the Beast is a good one.
Sleeping Beauty was always my. Nobody likes that one. My friend Megan is gonna be so pissed that you said that.
Is that the one with like the dwarves? Seven dwarves?
No,
Oh.
that's Snow White.
Oh, Snow White. Snow White.
No one knows who Sleeping Beauty is. Research when you get home.
All right, I will. Yeah.
But also, like, isn't like Miracle a Disney movie?
I don't. Did they make it?
I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus.
Well, like half like the Star Wars movies like aren't on Disney. Or wait, are on Disney Plus, but didn't make it.
Yeah, you're right.
Just weird stuff like that.
Anyways, moving on to the games from the past couple weeks. We'll start with Watertown, a home and home sweep against them. Some good showings as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I even told you that those first couple periods that you even had were some pretty good hockey from the defensive end, from all the defensemen as well.
Yeah.
What were some of your takeaways against the home and home sweep against Watertown?
The home and the away sweep, you mean? Or is it like? Oh, okay. Wait, is the home and the away?
It's home. And
home at home. I think it's us. It was definitely cool. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Like through the junior career, like swapping like home and away games like that. But no, it was definitely cool because both games were like packed and they sold out. I'm pretty sure.
Yep. And
the fans like travel back and forth. But I feel like we battled really well. Got pucks on the other end and got a lot of shots on net. We connected really well. Physically, defensively, and offensively. So, I mean, can't really complain too much about that.
And then coming into the weekend, traveling to Bismarck, some tough losses there. Something that Coach Langer and Aaron talked about was, we've come from behind before, but that first goal always seems to be a little deflating. From a player's perspective, what is something that you guys can do to make it, mentally, to make it not seem so deflating when it comes to that point?
Like when you get scored on? Well, at the start, I feel like we've been scored on at the start, like a lot of the past games. So I just feel like we need to be dialed in warm-ups and before that, come to the rink a little bit earlier. And I don't know, just whenever we get scored on, I know all the defense trying to like give the goalie taps on the pad or something like that, just pick everybody up. We need to be better, like positively to our teammates and stuff like that. So that's what I feel like.
And it doesn't always just lay on one person.
Yeah, no, it lies on everyone. We're such a good group of guys. Like we can, everyone takes the blame, even if it's just like we're not even on base or something like that. So. Yeah.
And I think one thing too is like Langer had even said over the past few weeks and everything, or even months, the whole season even, was that, the power play was something that always needed to be worked on. And one positive that can come from the weekend was that we did score on the power play in that last period. And one thing that Hirsch and I talked about before today too was that last period of the whole weekend was like everyone came out and that was the period that should have been played the whole weekend.
Yeah, it was kind of a wake-up call for us. So.
Yeah. And so what were some of the positives that you can even take away just from that last period that can be taken into playing Minot this next weekend?
I mean, I thought like our morale on the bench was like a lot higher. I mean, we had a lot of adversity from like the fans like banging on our glass or like the refs, but I feel like we battled that pretty well. Langer came in and gave us a speech after the second period and I don't know, kind of motivated us a little bit. So
awesome.
Just little things like that matter.
Awesome. So like we said, upcoming games, February 28th and March 1st, the team will be at Minot, 7:35 puck drop both nights. Games can be watched on NAHLTV.com or can be listened to on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or The Rock app. Next home games will be versus the St. Cloud Norsemen Friday and Saturday, March 7th and 8th. Friday, March 7th is Winger's birthday, and we're celebrating with Free Kids Friday. Kids 12 and under will receive free admission with the purchase of any regularly priced adult ticket at the Wings box office. Corporate game sponsor is Nutrient Ag Solutions. Saturday is Princess/Superhero Night. Giveaways at the door, and there'll be special appearances. Corporate game sponsor is Cashway Distributing. City Lights Bar and Event Center post-game party with the Wings following the game. Tickets available for all Wings home games are available at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or any Sea Express locations here in Aberdeen. Prorated sponsorships and reserved season tickets are still available for the remainder of the 2024-2025 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5858 for more information. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Again, Joey Mugaas, thank you so much for joining us on this week's Wings Weekly.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
All right, and that'll wrap up this week's episode.
See you, Wings fans.